All right, we're dealing with future values of annuity here in chapter 14. An annuity is, if you notice, the sign here, hands off my Social Security. Social Security, if it were a savings account, would function like an annuity, but since it's not a savings account, it doesn't function like an annuity. But basically, an ordinary annuity is when you would have money that you put into the bank each month or half a year or something like that. We're going to use a calculator in Excel to find ordinary annuities. We don't do annuities due in MBA. It's pretty easy to do, actually, but we're going to do retirement plans and then applications. An annuity payment is a payment made to an investment fund each period at a fixed interest rate. A sinking fund payment is a payment used to an investment fund at each period at a fixed rate for a predetermined future value. So an annuity, you don't know how much you're going to end up with, but with a sinking fund, you do. An annuity certain is paid back over a certain number of periods. An annuity certain is not like Social Security because you don't know how long you're going to live. An annuity certain would be like, for instance, if you won the lottery and they said, we'll pay you over 20 years. A contingent annuity is like a retirement account because it pays as long as you're alive. As I said before, almost all annuities that we talk about are ordinary annuities in which the payment is made at the end of the period. An annuity due would be like an IRA, something in which the payment is made at the beginning of the period. So we're going to calculate the value of these accounts, like retirement funds or college education or vacation funds, or if a company has a future investment. And we're going to not use the simple interest formula, but we're going to use this formula here. The future value of an annuity is going to be the payment times 1 plus the rate to the N per minus 1 over R. Okay, so here we go. What is the future value of an ordinary annuity of $1,000 for 3 years at 4%? Now, it makes sense it's going to be at least $3,000 because you're going to make 3 $1,000 payments. So how do you fill it out? Well, you take 1,000, that's that part, times 4% for 3 years, and then the 4% goes on the bottom. And if you notice, at the end of 3 years, you'll have $121.60. If you type it in Excel, you're still looking for future value. You've got the rate, periodic rate that is, number of periods, N per, and this time you have a PAY, a payment, and no present value. Okay, so here we go again, $1,500 for 4 years, 3%, and notice the 3% also has to go at the bottom. 3%, 4 years, $1,500 payment. It makes sense you'd have at least $6,000 because you have 4 $1,500 payments, and it comes out to be $6,275.44. Remember to use your parentheses and your fraction key if you're using a calculator. Now we've got $6,000 payments for 5 years, and it's semi-annually. Okay, so it's 0.06 divided by 2. Oops, I should have done divided by 2 down there too, but I didn't. So rate, time, their N per, payments, and since you're making semi-annual payments for 5 years, that's already $60,000, and you end up with $68,000. Seems to make sense. Same thing, I forgot to divide by 2 on the bottom there. Find the future value of a semi-annual ordinary annuity, semi-annual, so that's why it's 4 divided by 2, 10 years, so 10 times 2, $5,000 every half year for 10 years is already $100,000. So it's $121,000. Seems like a lot, but it's only $21,000 worth of interest. Same thing. Now we've got 2.9%, and it's annual payments, so it's going to be just 4 payments of $5,000, which gives you $886.94. So an annuity can be described as a series of equal payments deposited in an interest-bearing account for a specific number of periods. The amount of an annuity is the sum of the payments plus the interest. If there is a specific number of periods, it's called an annuity certain. A contingent annuity has a variable number of payments. An annuity with payments made at the end is called an ordinary annuity. The payments for an ordinary annuity are made at the end. The maturity value of a transaction is equal to the principal plus the interest, not the rate. Oops. Not the rate. Plus the interest. Okay. Annuities are offered by insurance companies. There's only one type. There are 2 types of annuities. Actually, there are 4 types. Some of them are based on when you put the money in, and some are based on the number of payments that you get. An annuity is not made up of equal payments. That's false. A stream of payments, a lump sum payments, never used by lotteries. It's a stream of payments. A contingent annuity has a fixed amount of payments. Nope. Will pay for max. Provides only monthly payments. Does not have a fixed number of payments. Okay, the difference between an annuity due and an ordinary annuity is whether you make the payment immediately. That's an annuity due. Or at the end of the period. That's an ordinary annuity. Now in Excel, we don't teach it in MBA, annuities do. But in Excel, there is a difference between those two. And you see the different kinds of annuities here. The defined benefit plan says what you're going to get out. The defined contribution plan says what you're going to put in. Okay. So let's see here. If you notice, this last step is if it's a 0, then it's an ordinary annuity. If it's a 1, then it's annuity due. Okay, so I forgot to divide by 12 here on the bottom again. So we've got 5.25%, $100 payments for 10 years monthly, 0.0525 divided by 12. And it makes sense you would have about $15,000 because you get $1,200 a month, which would be $12,000, or $1,200 a year, excuse me, for 10 years, which would be $12,000. So you could have $15,000. Forgot to divide by 12 again on the bottom. So we've got the 6% divided by 12 for 5 years, $500. Well, if you notice, that's $500 a month is $6,000 a year for 5 years is already $30,000. So it makes sense that there'd be $34,000.